to the Asia Trail Girls podcast, a platform where we talk about all things trail running in and around Asia. We will bring you interviews and inspirational stories from female runners around Asia to hopefully motivate and inspire you. We will also bring you race news and stories when races hopefully get back going, and hopefully that will be soon. We're hopefully also going to talk to sports specialists, bringing you advice to help you on your running journey. Our focus is on ordinary everyday runners, endurance lovers, or someone that maybe hasn't even started running yet, or a newbie. But people achieving great things or doing interesting things, whether it's a crazy challenge, pushing the boundaries of what we see is humanly possible, or if it's just managing to be able to run and hold down a full-time job and family, because to me, that's way harder than doing some ultra challenge. Now, I use the word ordinary, and I don't mean ordinary. These females are amazing and far from ordinary. But what I'm trying to say is you don't have to be professional or elite. This is our first introductory podcast. I guess it's not really a podcast, but a general chit chat between Veronika and I. And this is the first time we've ever done this. Well, Veronika, I know, has had interviews, but I've never done this, so please be patient. I'm Henny Gorton, your host. I guess I'm a host. I'm a trail runner and endurance enthusiast. Running is my absolute passion and has been key to my personal growth and happiness. I'm English, but I've been living in Indonesia for 7 years, and I'm currently based in Bali. Today, for this podcast episode, we are just going to talk about why we are doing this, the ideas, Asian Trail Girls, and we are also going to hear about Veronika and her story. So I should probably introduce you now, Veronika. Hi.
Hi, Henny. Thank you for having me on the first episode of our podcast.
I know it's very exciting. It's all been a bit quick. I would like to say that we've been planning this for a while, but we really haven't. So we'll go into that later. Veronika is the founder of Asian Trail Girls, and she is an incredible ultra runner based in Hong Kong. She won Asian Trail Master last year. It was last year, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And is ranked one of the top quickest female runners in Asia this year. Now, I don't know where I read that or heard it, but I definitely remember reading it somewhere. And I definitely agree because I've seen how quick you are. So whoever said that, I'm sure it is true. Hi, Veronika. And can you tell us a bit more about yourself, please?
Yes. Thanks again for the great intro, Henny. For those of you, who still don't know me or don't know much about me, yes, I'm a super passionate trail runner. And very competitive too. So I've been doing quite a lot of races last year. I'm originally from Slovakia, but I've been also living in Asia for quite a long time. So it's been 8 years now. I lived in China for the past 7 years, and end of last year I moved to Hong Kong, which is the perfect place for anyone who loves trail running. We have great mountains here, so it's been a great move for me. I'm also the founder of Asia Trail Girls, a community for women. I'm passionate about trail running. That's about me. I guess there is not much else to say.
I think there's probably a lot, but thank you. And let's kind of delve a bit more into the podcast. Why did you think a podcast was a good idea?
I think Asia Trail Girls has started off really well. Like our community is growing. So I can talk about Asia Trail Girls in general, maybe a bit later. But I do feel that sometimes, it will be easier to reach a larger audience of women if we don't just share articles online, but if we do it in the form of a podcast. So the main idea behind having a podcast, except that it's fun and more interesting, it's also to reach a larger audience of women and potentially also have more speakers who are willing to join the podcast, as opposed to contributors who need to produce something in writing.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with that, and that's why I thought it was going to be a great idea, because I was always jealous of the events and things you were holding in Hong Kong, and the Asian Trail Girls platform had so many great ideas, and it really needed a different base to connect people outside Hong Kong. And we all spend so long, hours running on trails, either listening to music or podcasts. So it's kind of the perfect platform, for that. And the reason that I thought podcasts was a great idea is I've listened to a lot of podcasts, but they're always Euro focused or American, and they're great, but you always think, if only they came to Asia and did a race, because it's so different. And like, one of the main things we have to deal with here is like getting lost. I did a really amazing race last year in East Java, Egen, and it was meant to be 70k. I got lost and did 86 kilometers, like, because the markers aren't there, or a local took them away, or there's just so many different factors. Or in the American podcast, you hear about like these amazing energy bars, or different nutrition or training plans or shoes. And some of the shoes, I'm talking mainly from focus on Indonesia, but they take like a year to come here, and even then it's hard to get them. I have to order my energy gels. Like, it definitely is different here. And I always wanted to hear from runners in Asia about their experiences, like what their nutrition plans are, like where they run, and how they deal with all, the things that races bring. So I think this is a perfect platform for us to do that.
Yeah. And I have to say that thank you, Henny, for the idea, because actually it was your idea mostly. So you were the one introducing it to me. And I do believe that it's, as you say, like, it's perfect, because there's so much talent in Asia and so many like inspirational runners and endurance athletes. But as you say, like, we don't get to hear from them in any podcast. There is not much done in Asia. And not just the nutrition and equipment, but also like the training conditions, the humidity,
the
weather, the terrain, like the jungle, and it's just so different from the US and from Europe. So I think, I think this will be great. And I also wanted to say, like, perhaps apart from talking to different runners and athletes, we also want to talk to some health experts.
Definitely.
Who know more about nutrition, about female bodies, so that way we can also like share all sorts of knowledge with our listeners, with other Asia Trail Girls.
I'm definitely excited for that. And thanks for kind of agreeing to my I guess crazy idea. So let's talk about a bit how we connected. So we've only actually met physically once, and I don't think you even remember it. So it was back in December. It was a MMTF, which was Malaysia Mountain Trail Festival, and it was the final of Asian Trail Master. I was doing the 55k, and you were doing, I think, was it 86 kilometers? Yeah. And and it was like the last 5k, and we were coming out of this like crazy jungle area, and I saw this like paved road, and I was like, yes, okay, finally, like something runnable. And I think I was in like 4th position, or I don't know, but I knew I was near the 3rd person, and I was like, okay, I really want to see if I can catch them. And then you appeared behind me, and I was like, oh, I think she's set to win it, and she's really quick, but she's done 86 kilometers, so she'll be slow, so she can definitely like pace me to the end, like I'll get the 3rd person. Excellent. While I was even thinking this, you like nipped by me, and you were like already 500 meters ahead, and I was like, Oh, okay. No, that's not going to happen. How are you that quick when you've done probably 80 kilometers by that point? The terrain was crazy at that race and it was so steep. And yeah, so that was kind of our only ever quick meeting.
I do remember because as you told me last time this whole story, then I remember the runner, and it was you for sure because there weren't that many like female runners, foreigners. But I was just trying to finish. It was so close, and the last race of the competition of that year. So yeah, I really wanted to see the finish line.
Yeah, and you did, and it was very impressive. But yeah, so we met then, but actually we connected, like most of you did, with Veronika through Asia Trail Girls. I was on Instagram and I saw a trail runner in Indonesia posted this launch of Asia Trail Girls, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. It's Veronika who was the winner. I was like, it's just an amazing platform. It's something that there's really a market for, connecting female trail runners in Asia. And I was reading through the articles, which were awesome. I'm an English teacher and I find it very difficult to switch off the editing side of my brain. And, lots of the articles were written by people that aren't, English isn't their first language. So there were some mistakes. Again, that's just me like overthinking in editing mode. So I messaged Veronika and said, hey, like I'm an English teacher, I can edit your articles. Like, do you want help? And Veronika messaged me back like, yes, like more like, why would you want to do that? So anyway, yeah, we connected like that, and I was editing the articles, which was really cool, like having a sneak preview of reading them. There was some really amazing articles. And anyway, we were speaking through that, and I don't know, I had this idea one day. I was like, Veronika really needs to make a podcast out of this. Like, we all spend so long on trails listening to music and podcasts. Like, this is perfect. And I told Veronika, and she was like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, what do you mean let's? Like, us do it? I didn't mean me. I meant like, you need to do it. And then Veronika was like, no, like, do you want to do it with me? I was like, yeah, but who am I? So yeah, that's basically our story and how we're here now, right?
Yeah, and thank you for the idea and for agreeing to doing this with me, and now becoming the first ever host of the first ever podcast of Asia Trail Girls. Yeah, I mean, for me, Asia Trail Girls, maybe it's something that I started, but I really want to emphasize, like, it's a community where I would love other people to contribute to, and in any sort of way. And when you suggested podcast, and I know, yes, you're a native English speaker, and you're always so friendly and cheerful and happy. Like, I thought, who else would be the perfect person to do this? Like, of course, you came with the idea in the first place. So I'm super excited for all the upcoming episodes. I think we would love to do this twice a month. So as a bi-weekly podcast. So yeah, I'm really, really excited.
Yeah, me too. And yeah, thanks again. I think it's going to be, really great. And yeah, we really want to kind of reiterate that this isn't just, a lot of podcasts you listen to are for or of professional and elite runners. Like, maybe we have a part of that on here, but I really want it to be for, everyday runners, because so often I hear these like really amazing stories of people like running across an island or doing this like crazy endurance challenge, and like we need to hear more about that, or everyday things, how their inspiration, how they tackle certain training elements, how they've come to running. So yeah, it really, and I don't like the word ordinary, but it's really a platform for everyone that's interested in running, and they're based in Asia. So it's going to be great. So I just want to backtrack a bit, and let's kind of get into Asia Trail Girls. Like, why, and when did you decide to do that, and what were your kind of main aims around that?
So last year I was part of the Asia Trail Master competition, and I just noticed over and over again, like there is not that many women who do trail running. It's just very like male dominated sport, and to me trail running was something that brought me a lot of joy and confidence, and not just it did not only improve like my physical shape and fitness level, but also like it gave me so much strength mentally. And I feel it's something that everyone would benefit from. And I felt like it was a shame that there was just not enough women in the sports, and potentially because it is a little bit intimidating as it is so male dominated. Also potentially because you're running outside on in the mountains, like far away, so that could be another reason. So I wanted to create this safe space community for women where they can share their stories, any tips, advice, knowledge on trail running. No matter if you're a beginner or like a almost elite runner, just something where we can, inspire each other, motivate each other, something like that. So that was my first idea. That's how the website started, and the platform with articles, where anyone can contribute to. And then, of course, the vision was potentially to do more in-person events, such as running retreats somewhere in the mountains where we can run and get together, and potentially, women from different countries. I also had ideas of joining a race together as Asia Trail Girls, not necessarily a running club, but more like a community. But yes, because of COVID, and all the limitations that come with it, I realized that right now we need to focus more on online events. So we did the Asia Trail Girls Challenge in August, which was very popular, and it was super exciting because we had over 600 participants who did a virtual challenge.
Yeah.
And now the podcast is kind of another interesting venture,
Yeah.
that can help to reach even more people and more women, and do it in a different way than just through sharing articles and reading stuff online.
A bit more about what you have on the horizon. Is there anything apart from the podcast? Is there anything else you want to talk about? I know you've got some workshops coming up.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about the workshop that we are hosting in Hong Kong. It's a bit different, so it's not any running challenge or race or competition. It's more an educational workshop we will bring in 9 different speakers. Some of them are runners, some of them are like physiotherapists, doctors, like a wide range of female speakers who will share all sorts of interesting information. So we'll have different sessions on that day. So it's really a more of a workshop. It's for women who are based in Hong Kong. Unfortunately, it's a physical event, so we can really have
Yeah.
other women take part in it if they're not here. But yeah, it's the first of its kind, because we haven't done this before. And I'm really excited because I'm sure a lot of interesting information will be given out. And it's just for women. It's a safe space where they can ask anything they want about female body or anything else that's maybe a question that they wouldn't dare to ask somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that will be end of October in Hong Kong. And also, I had a few women reach out to me who are not in Hong Kong, asking whether we can stream this online or how they can, be part of it. So unfortunately, there is no way for this one. But again, that's why I feel the podcast is a really great way to potentially have those speakers as guests on one of those podcasts. So then these women will be able to listen to them and get the information this way.
Yeah, it's a great idea. And I'm sure people are fascinated to hear, we all know that you were the winner of Asian Trail Master and you're the founder of Asia Trail Girls, but people don't really know much about your running story. Can you tell us a bit more about maybe how you started running, why you're running?
I've always been very active, but I only got more competitive and I started joining races 2016, 17, when I lived in Shanghai. I made some new friends with people who loved sports. So we started joining races, like Spartan races, cycling, triathlon. So it wasn't trail running from the beginning, mostly because Shanghai is very flat. It's a big city with no mountains. So it didn't cross my mind. But then end of 2017, a friend of mine suggested, oh, let's do this trail race. I think it was 26K, not far away from Shanghai. So I was like, why not? I like to run. I always knew running was sort of my strength in triathlon, but I never did a trail race, and that was my first one. And wow, it was just so incredible. Like I felt like, it's something where I don't have to focus on my speed and pace, but rather just enjoy like everything that's around me. So I was really, really like from that first race, I was kind of hooked. But I didn't do more trail running for another year just because the Shanghai was not suitable for that. But I did connect with the founder of Asia Trail Master, Chris, end of December, like 2018, and he sort of introduced me to that competition. And I thought, like, why not? I can try it. I will just go for different races in different countries and take it as, some sort of holiday. And that way I can also discover those countries. So last year was really the year when I started shifting my focus to trail running. And and with me moving to Hong Kong, now I'm more and more focused on trail running only and less of the other things.
Yeah, sure. And let's talk a bit about Asian Trail Master. How you said that you connected with Chris, but yeah, what made you kind of from going and dabbling in different sports and you did a trail race, what kind of pushed you to doing it competitively and kind of taking on the challenge? Because with Asian Trail Master, you have to do several races. So what made you decide to do that?
Well, at first it was more of a let's try and see. But then because I realized, wow, I'm winning this first 1, 2, 3 races, then I thought, well, I would like to compete actually for the title of Asia Trail Master 2019. So then probably around like April, May time, I already signed up for more of those. And well, at the beginning it was more for fun, and I always had some friends with me. Like later in the year, I would go even if my friends couldn't, because I wanted to see like, okay, is it possible for me to win it? And I also started feeling like this is something I'm really good at. While I didn't get that same feeling with other sports, I knew like I'm not bad if I train, but trail running was really something that I felt like I was good at, and something that I really felt was like really exciting. Like I wanted to do more, and so that's how it happened gradually, and I really fell for it.
Yeah, and like you said about you mentioned about you really got to see Asian and traveling around Asia, and I think for me it's the same. Like trail running really enables you to see so many new places and places you wouldn't go to if you weren't running, especially the races are in such beautiful places. And for me, the first thing I always do when I get to a new place is explore it through running. And if I've gone with, I don't know, a friend or my partner, I always feel like I see it much better than they do because, I ended up in a remote village or this like beautiful rural area. And it just allows you to see so much that you wouldn't if you didn't do that. So I definitely agree with you there, and it's a huge appeal to trail running.
It's a bit different from Europe and the US, where I mean, you have access to those mountains anyway as a hiker, because most of those trails are like hiking trails. But in most of the Asian countries, especially Southeast Asia, there is not there is no hiking. So whenever there is a race, it's really a location that no one else goes to. So it's super authentic. Usually, you get to see the smallest villages and you interact with the locals, and it's not like, you don't really see other tourists there. So that adds to it. You really explore places that you would not be able to explore if you just come to the country on your own.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not safe either. Like where I live in Bali, we've got amazing mountains. Like if you look around, you're like, oh wow, trails everywhere, but actually, you know, they're not really accessible. I mean, we do try, but you are, you know, like cutting down bushes and like crawling through things, and it's just like pure luck if you manage to find a loop round. We have like trail running communities here, and we work something out. But yeah, if you go to Europe or Australia, and they've got, you know, these beautiful mountains, but there are marked out trails. So yeah, it's so different here without having like safe marked out trails. But I definitely like that it's real, and it's just so different and beautiful because they're untouched.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so let's talk about your win. Congratulations, by the way. How did that feel, especially like after the year you'd had of all the build up and races? Like, yeah, tell us how that felt.
Well, amazing. I was so happy to win, especially because I did have a small injury in October, and I still had two of those races left in Japan and in Malaysia. So I wasn't 100% sure about how I will do that, how I will do, and if I can finish even. So that's why the victory felt really, really nice. And also it enabled me to make so many new friends from all over Asia. So the last race was really like a big festival where you meet people who you've seen throughout that competition from really all over the world. So it was an incredible feeling. It was really, really, really nice. And I hope next year we can resume, since this year
Yeah.
has been, yeah, just not happening.
No. Yeah, and let's talk about that because I know that you had quite a big year planned with running. It was kind of going to be the year that you really, you know, took off and did more races. Like, how have you dealt with the cancellations and yeah, your schedule not going to plan?
Yeah, I think like like everyone else, it was a bit disappointing at the beginning because I did have a lot of race plans this year. But you just have to adjust. So instead, I shifted my focus to Asia Trail Girls, you know, building a community. I kept training, but it was quite difficult to keep motivated, to stay motivated. And yeah, I definitely didn't train as much as I would if there were races, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I think everyone actually deserves a break sometimes. So this was an unplanned break, but it's not bad, and I'm ready for next year. So I can't wait when races resume, and you know, we
Yeah.
can travel again. Until then, yeah, I think we all learn to be a bit more patient with this
Yeah.
COVID, yeah, and maybe appreciate things more.
Yeah, definitely. And so talking about next year, like, yeah, what does next year entail for you? Are you going to kind of have the same year that you planned this year, or yeah, what are your
I
plans?
think I will try. Yeah, I will try because I wanted to do the Ultra Trail World Tour circuit. So I had a few races planned in Europe. It was sort of a nice way to go back to Europe closer to family and do some of those big races. So I want to do it. I had a few races planned in Spain, in Austria, in France. So I do want to try to just do it this in 2021. But hopefully it will be possible because we still don't know. We are not sure. But I'm also hopeful that maybe even if I can go back to Europe, you know, potentially like Asia will open up a bit more. So maybe do more of Asia of races in Asia, and also like as I planned with Asia Trail Girls, connect with other runners across Asia in
Yeah.
person, online. So that could be another option in case, yeah, we can't travel all the way to another continent.
Let's talk about a bit more about your training. I'm sure people are eager to know about, you know, what your training involves. I know you said you're not as motivated at the moment, but yeah, do you have a coach or do you just run on feel? What do you do?
I don't have a coach at the moment. I think it's good to have a coach if you're new to running or if you want to improve, because it gives you a certain structure. But once you know what to do and you have enough discipline yourself, I think you can do without a coach. So I don't have a coach. Yeah, at the moment, during the summer, I was just running just to feel good. It was very hot, so it's really not the right time in Hong Kong to train properly. It's more just to keep the mileage. But I do want to resume now that it's getting a bit cooler. And my
Yeah.
training, I run around like 5 to 6 times per week, around 80 kilometers each week. So I try to do more, but I realize it makes me really tired. So then the week after, I will not feel good at all. And apart from running, I do 2 to 3 times per week strength training, which is super important if you're a trail runner, just to avoid injuries. I also do some yoga, like 2, 3 times a week, mostly to stretch. So some yin yoga. I used to cycle and swim before, but since moving to Hong Kong, I've just been running so much. I didn't get on the bike yet. But I'm planning to do that as well because it's always good to do some other like cross
Yeah.
training, not just run all the time. But in terms of my running, I'm not very structured. Like I try to do some speed workouts. I do that maybe once a week. I do longer runs on the weekend, but I'm not very. I mean, it's not like this day I do this day that. It's more like as you say, like
Run
go
on
with the flow.
film. Yeah. And I think that's really nice for people to hear because so often, especially with professional elite athletes, you hear people have got these coaches, they've got these really structured training plans, and yeah, they have to do hill repeats and they do a tempo session, and I think it can really overwhelm runners and think, oh my, I don't have that. What do I do? Or they think they have to run a really high mileage. But I think it's really important to remind people that, it really is different for everyone. Like there are lots of runners like you that I mean, you still a high mileage, but lots of people do 100 plus a week. So yeah, it's a really important reminder to us all to remember that, every runner, they have a different story, a different plan that works for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's great. And I mean, you're a successful runner. You're very quick. Do you have what would you say are your keys to success?
Oh, I don't really have a key. I think for someone, if you want to get more competitive, like you just need to have that competitive spirit. Like if you don't have it, I don't think you can push yourself. So for me, I do have the drive, and whenever I race, I can really push myself, which
Yeah,
I noticed that this year when everyone is switching from races to challenges, I
yeah,
realize I'm not the challenge type. So I know many people, they can do so much for a challenge and they really push and they do like extreme things. And I realized if I don't have this feeling of competition
Mhm.
and this adrenaline before the race, I just can't do it. Like I can't push myself that hard. So that's one thing I realized just this year because I haven't done any challenges before. So for me, once you're in the race, it's like a different thing, different feel. Um, yeah, but I don't really have any key to success. I would say definitely consistency, healthy lifestyle. As long as you're consistent, like you don't have to be extremely strict, but just keep it going. I think that's sort of the key to success. So I've been really active and trying to live healthy for the past 2, 3 years, and I can see my I feel like I'm still improving, and I can still improve more.
Yeah, yeah, and I completely agree with you about the what you said about challenges. The same thing. I didn't realize how much I kind of not depended on races, but how it helped me train and push. Like there have been challenges here, and I'm just not as motivated. My friend did for charity, which was amazing. He ran did a 24-hour endurance run on a loop of, I think the loop was like, I don't know, a kilometer, and it was like steep up, steep down and he did it for 24 hours. And I was like, yeah, I'll join, no problem. And like just the two of you running, like nobody else there through the night in loops, like why am I doing this? Like, yeah, you really don't. I miss so much, the atmosphere of people, or the kind of chase
Yeah.
and talking to other trail runners out there, especially I hate running through night. So it's really nice to have the other people there to motivate you. So I definitely understand you there with the challenges. And one last question for you. There might be a lot of newbie runners listening or anything, and Asian trail girls out there. Do you have any advice or any kind of tips or anything you want to say to them?
I think for newbies, it's always nice to start running with someone, with a friend, because it's less intimidating. And also, if you want to start trail running, I would first recommend to start hiking, because eventually, like, you can start hiking, and then whenever it's not too steep, it's flattish or a bit of downhill, you can try to jog. So it's kind of like a gradual transition from hiking to running, which I find is a nice way. And actually, in the end, like many times we are hikers as well. Like you can always run when it's a too steep uphill. We all hike. Other tips, maybe just read some of the articles that are on Asia Trail Girls website. I think there is a lot of interesting stories by girls who just started, because maybe their boyfriend was running, or maybe their friends like asked them to join, and now they're super passionate about trail running. So there is a lot of inspirational stories on the website already that they can browse through.
Yeah, that's great. And thanks so much for doing this. And guys, if you're listening, if like we've said, like this is for everyone and anyone. So if you're sat there thinking, I have a story to tell or some advice to give or a challenge, anything, connect, reach out on Instagram to Asia Trail Girls or the website. And we can get you on here and we can talk. And like I said, this is a first time for us. So if you have any feedback, any comments, the aim, what we're going to do with this is our introductory episode. That's why we wanted to do it video, and just to kind of put it out there into social media, and we can see if it works and if people want this. And then our aim is going to be that we will go on to a proper podcast platform and Spotify, iTunes, wherever it goes. But the aim is that we will be a proper podcast that you download and you can listen when you're running or listen to with whatever. But any comments, feedback, reach out to us. We'd be really grateful. But really, thank you for listening, Veronika. Thank you for kind of coming on this idea with me. And thank you so much for listening, guys. And let's do this.
Let's do it. Thank you as well, Henny, for moderating. And if anyone has ideas for our guest speakers, anyone who is inspirational or who you would like to know more about, then let us know as well. We will ask them and try to bring them on and ask them some questions.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Thanks.